the topic of the discussion and hit the issues you typically find reluctant. Remove the facade to fill the gap with some substance. We undermining problems, expecting to overcome it. Please hold the applause. We doing it for the cause. People follow culture before they follow the laws. We rather face the friction and not attempt it at all. Persistence will find solutions once our contentment dissolves. There's a hard pill to swallow for anyone breathing, both for folks who stay woke and those who be dreaming. We ain't slaves, yet we still ain't experienced freedom. What we need is the keys to access the kingdom. We're all in this fallen world trying to stay intact. I'm just a beggar, point you out to where the bread is at. So follow the breadcrumbs like Hansel and Gretel. Thank Yogi Bear and the thought engineer for that on Man Talk Monday. It's Man Talk Monday. Woo!
Hey, what's up, people? Welcome back to Man Talk Mondays. I'm Derek, the thought engineer. And my man, he's back, y'all. My man is back in the house, comedian John Yogi. How you feeling? How was the trip, man?
Man, it was outstanding.
Okay.
It was rest, and more rest.
Rest, that's what you need.
And see, when you get older, you're not trying to move. You're not trying to get your steps in. You're not got trying. Nah, that's okay. We get steps in at the house.
Get it in the house.
Trying to get to sleep on. We went to the beach, then went to the pool, and back to the beach.
Okay.
Took a nap. You got to get your nap in.
Got to get the nap.
Hey, man, I am napped out. I'm ready. I'm ready to get back, man. I came back. I flew in special for the show. JT was going to be on. I said, I got to get back. I got to get back. JT going to be on the show. I got to get back. Got to go. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to introduce you to our special guest in just a minute. Before we get started, let me just remind everybody, this is Man Talk Mondays. It's an open forum where we give you the rational realities of relationships. But of course, we're doing it from a man's perspective. Now, keep in mind, this conversation is not just for men. We want everybody to join in. How you join in? Go into the comment section, leave your comment, leave your question. We can see this, but by all means, we want to hear from you, right? So make sure you're talking to us. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to help men build better lives, one conversation at a time. That's the goal, right? One conversation at a time. And this conversation is important, right? So kinfolk, where you at? Pull up. We want to hear from you. And so let's just get into what we got for tonight, right? So we've been talking about I'm getting old and I'm scared, right? I'm getting old and I'm scared. And one of the fears is that whole financial thing. And that's what we've been really dealing with, that whole financial thing. Because you get to your 40s and 50s and all of a sudden it hits you, man, I ain't got nothing together. What I'm gonna do for my family? How we gonna live? How we gonna retire? All this type of stuff starts hitting you, right? So if that's you, I want you to stay glued to your screen, whether it's your phone, your computer screen, whatever, stay glued. So we're talking about tonight, broke today, blessed tomorrow.
Or Walmart.
Or what?
Hey, no, not Walmart. If you don't have a plan, Walmart got something for you just in case you have a plan.
It's not too late for your financial comeback. It's not too late. So we want to give somebody some hope, because that's the scenario, that's the situation that a lot of men find themselves in, right? So for somewhere down the line, nobody taught you about finances, and you got to the place, you're good at working, you're good at maintaining things, but you hadn't planned everything out and you hadn't built something for later on, right? And so later on, it's starting to come just a little bit quicker than you anticipated.
Oh, boy.
You know what I'm saying? So life is just a little bit more real, right? Yes. If that's you, this show is for you.
Well, this is the thing. Even if it ain't you, it will be you.
It will be, yeah.
It will be you. So it's something for everybody. There is nothing that will bring across your screen that's not important, that you can't use. Yeah. And listen, like, share, and subscribe right now.
Do that. Do that right now. Do that right now. Right? Go ahead and click that button right now.
Right now.
Right now. So joining us for this conversation tonight, we have a great man.
The Reverend.
A great man. Now, when I say great, I'm not just saying that just as a formality. This is one of the most solid guys you ever gonna find, right? Reverend. And that's why we brought him in for this conversation.
Doctor.
Because he's he's the kind of guy that you need to know, right?
Everybody need one of these guys in their life.
Exactly. Everybody need one of these.
Oh man.
So, so we introducing him to the world tonight, Mr. Jesse Townsend. How you feel?
Really good. Thank you very much.
I wish they had a clap track. I need an applause track or something, right? We need that for him, right? How's it going?
It's going good. You know, right now we're enjoying life. We're retired. Been retired for about 2 years now.
Oh, wow.
Over 2 years. And so everything is going good.
So you made it.
We made it. Still making it.
Still making it.
You know, but always remember, you know, where we come from, what we went through.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so that keeps you on the right track.
Oh yeah. I can definitely imagine that, because for that guy that's watching who's in that space right now, when you found yourself in that space, right?
Mm-hmm.
Based on how your story unfolded,
Mm-hmm.
what was that aha moment? What was that time where you said, you know what? I probably need to do something.
Well, to be honest with you, that aha moment's when we sat down and we were so much in debt.
Wait, when you say we sat down, you talking about you and the missus.
Me and the missus.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And we were so much in debt, and we were contemplating whether we should consolidate our bills or to file bankruptcy.
Oh wow. Okay.
So it was serious.
Yeah.
You know, we were in this phase where we were going into the next month or 10 days of the next month trying to take care of last month's responsibilities.
Okay.
So you had more money, and then more month at the end of the month.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what was that conversation like though?
It was tough.
Now is loving and understanding is the Mrs. Eels. How was that conversation?
It was tough.
It was tough.
You know, and it was tough because I know how hard she worked. And I know to keep the family together. And I come from a good background.
Yeah.
And I come from a father who provided for us. It was 6 boys. My mother never had to work outside the house.
Okay.
We lived out in so-called suburbs. And so I was in a point in my life where it's just my wife and my 2 kids, and we can't even make ends meet.
Wow.
Because of bad choices.
Bad choices.
And the key thing that he says, man, he said he came from a good family.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody that came from good families, you don't get a pass because you come from a good family. So that also means if you came from a bad family, you still got a chance to stay out of Walmart. You still got a chance. We got JT in here tonight. He's going to help y'all understand how. When I say Walmart, if you're trying to sponsor, we all for you. We just don't
try to cancel no sponsors.
We just don't want to be 65 and having to work.
No, because I said that was my fear. I would go to Walmart and I would see older people they greeting people
just
at the door, and I'm
just
like
in the way. Just
In the way.
Just ain't really doing nothing. They just in the way. Just baby move, my mom move out
and
the way.
I'm like, how did you end up here?
That's the question. How did you end up here? And it's mainly because of it could be a part of for me, it wasn't so much ignorance, it was just bad choices. You know, some of it can be ignorance and some of it can be just bad choices. In my case, I think a lot of it was just bad choices.
Okay. So were you just kind of just living life and just kind of enjoying yourself? Is
because you don't look like a bad choice dude. You don't look like, you know, I had some people tell me one time, say, you know, you look like you make good choices. And as he was giving me the keys to the car, which they later came and got, he realized soon that we don't often look the part because you look like you make good choices.
When I say bad choices, that means, you know, credit card debt. That means living above your means, you know. And so when you live above your means, there's some way you have to supplement that, and it's usually with credit cards or going into debt. So we got into debt, and we got into a predicament where it was either, like I said, it was either subsidized, it was either file bankruptcy or consolidate. And we decided to go ahead on and file bankruptcy.
Okay.
But we went through the motions.
Okay.
But it was, again, I thought about my father. I thought about how he prepared us kids. And it was a friend, and believe it or not, it was a friend of mine's on my job who told me about Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey. For y'all who haven't heard of Dave Ramsey has a whole plan.
Yes.
Right. The Total Money Maker. We got a whole
Maker.
plan for getting out of debt and the whole nine. And so you came across Dave Ramsey. You were just about to pull the cord on the bankruptcy.
Pull the cord.
Was you close, man?
We're real close. We're real close.
Real close.
But I think it's God's plan. I listened to Dave Ramsey. He sounded a bit out there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But a lot of his principles I related to. And so we listened. I went to a class. I went to a seminar. I bought a couple of CDs and I listened to the program. And Cindy and I decided, we're going to work this program. And I'll never forget. Of course, he always talks about the baby steps.
Yeah.
And so what we did is, of course, we're trying to get that $1,000 emergency fund.
Right.
And but one thing he said is that when you call your credit card. I called one of the credit card creditors, and he said that sometimes you can pay pennies on the dollar to get them to pay off the debt.
Right.
So anyway, I called one of them up, and we were a couple of $1,000 into debt. So I asked him, and I said, "Hey, listen, we pay you $300 or $400. Can we cancel this debt?" I said, because we are filing for bankruptcy, and that you're not going to get paid anyway.
So you can take this couple $100.
Take this couple $100. But I tell you what, it worked.
Wow.
They took the payment, and at that point, it kind of gave me hope.
Okay.
And so we decided that we we're going to work the plan.
Well,
okay.
I got a question.
Sure.
Could you have worked the plan if your wife wasn't on board with it?
No. And that's one thing, that we was an agreement for us to file bankruptcy, but it was an agreement for us not to file it. And at that time, with the way that the Dave Ramsey plan worked, it allowed us to work together to work on a budget.
A budget.
Oh man, the thing about a budget is everybody got to go by it. The house has a budget. Yes, it's the roof of the house. So yeah.
So before you worked that, before you heard about Dave Ramsey, did you feel? Was there ever a time you felt kind of hopeless, or was it just,
I felt a little hopeless because I didn't see a way out.
Okay.
And I felt like, I was failing my family, I failing myself. And so I knew there had to be a better way. And I always thought I was a numbers person. So I used to always try to do things in my head.
Oh, okay.
I didn't put stuff down on paper.
Yeah.
And if I put it down on paper, I put it on paper so that I could, so that it would work in my favor.
Oh.
But I didn't do budgets or anything like that. So we sat down and we learned to do a workable budget.
Okay.
And we had a little bit of success with it. So we started from there.
All right. So the budget and that call you made to the credit card company, that kind of sparked.
Yeah, it sparked me to say, hey, there's something to this. And so what we did was we actually started working the budget. Now it was slow motion, but it was encouraging for us to keep going. And it was slow motion, but Dave Ramsey had talked about, selling your cars, your car, getting rid of the car note. And so what we did was, believe it or not, what we did was we sold our car. I took a loan out with the credit union with FedEx credit. I got work for FedEx, And by doing that, we were able to put more money into our budget, and we started doing a debt snowball.
Okay. Debt snowball. Explain the debt snowball for somebody who might be listening who's like, what's that? What's the debt snowball?
Well, the debt snowball is that in this case, you take the smallest bill and you throw money at it.
Okay.
And then you pay that bill off. And then the money that you're paying on that particular bill, you throw it onto the next bill. And then the next bill. And so by us being able to sell our car, and now I skipped one part. We sold the car, freed up about $300 or $400 a month.
Okay.
Got a loan with FedEx Credit Union, and that way took about $3,000, and I bought the best $3,000 car I could find, which is the Honda Accord. Now you got to understand me. I was driving a Q45.
Oh, okay.
So JT had an image.
So what was that like? Now we're talking. What was that like? You got to step from a Q45.
I know,
to the Honda Accord.
But you know what? I knew that what we were doing, our budget was working, but it was working slow motion, and so we had to do something in order to accelerate. Accelerate it. Yeah. And so what I did was, I bought a Honda Accord for about $3,000.
Okay.
And they were taking the payments out of my paycheck, but it was only like about $100 a month. And I tell you what, that was the best decision I could have ever made at that time, because we were getting out of debt. And when you're in a position that we were in at the time, and you saw the acceleration of getting out of debt, you really don't care what nobody thinks.
So the acceleration gave you the motivation to stick with it, right?
Because the issue with doing things slow, people bad decisions you can see immediately. Good decisions, after making a bunch of bad decisions, it takes a longer time. It takes a much longer time when you've been making bad decisions, and after a while, you can start seeing light at the end of the tunnel. But it takes a while. So in Jesse's case, Jesse's saying, I had to do something to speed that up,
right?
Because the whole time, man, you like, because remember, I started this because I'm at the end of my rope.
Yeah.
So as I'm pulling, I need something to let me know that I'm getting closer to my goals.
Yeah.
I'm standing, man, because I'm trying to figure out, you sold the Q45.
Let me tell you something.
I thought that was tough, brother.
That was tough.
I thought that was tough. Yeah.
I was JT.
Yeah. and that's something.
And that was an image.
Right. And that's a huge thing, because how many guys out there you are trying to keep up with an image? Because I know
every guy,
especially like when you come from meager means and you finally get to a place where you think you can afford the nice stuff, you think you can afford to kind of show off a little bit, like you said, your image, you worried about that. And for the middle class, let's say the middle class is all about, can you afford the debt? Can you manage the debt?
Right.
So
or looking like you can.
Right. Or looking like until you can't no more.
Right.
And because that might be a reality with somebody right now. They might have to make that hard decision and say, you know what, I got to let the Q45 go and step into this Honda Accord.
Yes, yeah, and it was the best decision that we made together. Accelerated our debt snowball, accelerated our plan. We were able to breathe. We could see the end of the tunnel. And so, and from that point on, from that point on, it took us about 2.5 years.
Wow.
And we got out of debt. We were completely out of debt. And you got to remember, guys, we were like 42, 43 years old when this happened.
Yeah.
And so by the time we were 45, 46, we were completely debt free. When I say debt free, I mean, I'm talking about nothing but your fixed bills.
Okay, so wait.
Yeah.
So you in debt over your head, you drowning at 43, 45, 46, you out of debt.
Debt free.
At what point did you say, all right, let's get back out there and do what we did before, or were you so conditioned at that point after 2.5 years in that you say, hey, whoa, we might have stumbled up on something. There's a new way to do things. We want to keep this up.
You think your condition.
Yes. Oh, that's why. See, that's why I'm asking. Because most of the time when we come out of something like that, because I know we have done this millions of times, we'll come out of something, we're like, yes, we off about that credit card. And next thing I know, we at Nebraska. And I'm in the car. I'm like,
you don't mean the state. You're right there.
Lord, I'm merciful. Like when I did it again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I want to get a couple of comments real quick.
Sure.
All right. They're gonna come up in a second. All right. Mr. Chad Major, he said, what up, fellas?
What up?
3 great men on the podcast tonight. Awesome. Thank you, Chad. Thank you for tuning in. Okay. I'll get to the next one in a minute. So, Christina, she says, see how important it is to marry a man with a father.
Yeah.
Now, this is interesting comment. See how important it is to marry a man with a father, because you mentioned you kind of went back and said, I had to remember, my father, the legacy he put in front of me and everything, and that kind of kicked in and gave you that reserve to go ahead and make the tough choices. Right. So what was it about that realization that, when you thought about it, you was like, I'm my daddy's son, I can't go out like this. I'm my daddy's son, because you got 2 types of guys. You got guys with fathers, you got guys without fathers.
Well, I had a father. It just was cool season. And he was doing the cool season thing rather than being raised. But it's not about me, it's about JT. JT, go ahead, tell us about you.
What was that like? Because some guys who don't have a father, they don't understand what that feels like. What was that feeling like?
Because I knew my father's struggle.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
I knew I'm the oldest of 6 boys.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you was the oldest.
I'm the oldest of 6 boys.
Wow.
And I knew my father's struggle. Wow. And I saw how he uplifted himself and got a good job at Ford Motor Company.
Okay.
And because he was a part-time mechanic.
Oh wow.
For a long time. And so he uplifted himself and got on with Ford Motor Company as a supervisor. And then, we lived in the hood till I was about 9 years old. And then, but I saw his struggle, and I saw how he raised us, and I saw that my mother didn't have to work outside the house.
How many boys you say?
There's 6 of us.
I thought you said 6. In my mind I thought 4, but I thought no, he said 6. That's a lot of boys. Listen, that's a lot of boys growing and eating and feeding, and that's
6 boys.
They ain't nothing to play with.
6 boys, and he said his mom didn't work outside the house.
Wow.
So your daddy was holding it all the way down.
He was holding it down, and so I thought about the sacrifices he made. Both of them made for us.
Yeah, and
I just felt like it was time to stand up and be a man.
Wow,
and make the hard choices.
Wow.
Listen,
I know y'all getting some good stuff tonight, right? Because a lot of men, like I said, this is your reality. This is where you are right now. He's on the other side of it. And I'm still blown away by the 2.5 years, because really, when you think about it, 2.5 years is no time.
Yeah,
it's no time. You blink in 2.5 years. We already halfway through this year. It seems like we just
the crazy thing about it is you spend most of your life being foolish, and 2.5 years later you can turn it around. That ain't nothing.
Yeah.
We were focused. I couldn't have done it without Cindy. We were focused. It's like, you were in a zone.
Okay.
And you just you saw the end of the tunnel, you got some traction.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we just said, hey, we're going to wrap this thing all the way out.
Yeah. Well, speaking of your wife, she put a comment. She said it worked us, but we worked the plan.
Exactly.
Right. She said it worked you all. And I think
We need to have him to scoot over so she can get right in.
Sell the mic, you know what I'm saying? But because that is a key thing. Like you said, y'all sat down. The two of you sat down and had this conversation. And what was that conversation like initially?
Yeah, because did she have? Because I often say there's nothing that could have went on in the house that she didn't have a clue about. But did she? How in tune with was she about what was going on in the house? Or did you say it ain't nothing like it look? I've been the smoking mirrors. It ain't nothing like this. How was that? How was that conversation?
Well, I can't fool her.
Exactly.
She knew what was going on, but she hung in there with me, through those years.
No, because and that's the thing, because that could be part of the fear that some guys having. Like, man, I gotta have this conversation.
Well, in that conversation, not only it means a lifestyle is changing if it already hadn't. We got to cut back. We got to be more disciplined. Most of the time, we don't, as men, we're afraid to bring discipline in our relationships because we have allowed things to just be, our wives and the kids and everybody just to be out there. Oh, we'll make it up on the back end. We'll sell it on the back end. When you're trying to do something like this, it's important that the whole family come together and do it, man. But I bet there's no greater accomplishment than y'all have had in doing that.
Oh no, it was like I said, being able to be debt free, being able now to make your choices, like Dave Ramsey says, telling your money where to go.
Telling where to go.
And
my money slapped me last week. You just gonna slap me in front of everybody.
And dare you to say something. Don't play with me, right? Let me get Latarsha Davis. She says, you said something so profound. Sacrifice. Getting out of debt, controlling debt, saving, and retiring early. You must sacrifice in order to be successful in any of those things, right? So she talked about the importance of that sacrifice. And I think what happens on the sacrifice thing is when you're on this side of it and you staring at the sacrifice, how tough.
You don't want no parts of it.
Is that sacrifice to make? And what made y'all go ahead and say, all right, let's just,
But you know why it's so tough though? You know why sacrifice is so tough? And I'm just making an excuse because it ain't that tough. But man, when you because it seems like as we get older, we get to a point where we can do more, where we can have more. And so now as soon as I can have more, you telling me, whoa, hold up, retirement is coming. Whoa, you above your means. You know what I'm saying? It just seems like as soon as you can move around a little bit, because normally it takes us 35, 40 before we got a handle on our finances if we didn't address it early in our life. And as soon as we get there, now you telling me I got to pull up some. The devil is a lie.
But it can seem, just really just a lot, because like you said, you gotta cut out some things that you have enjoyed. Some things, whether it's going places or, driving some particular that you wanted to drive. Maybe your clothes got to kind of change just a little bit. Your wardrobe, a little.
No. I got to go back the same way to get my shoes. No.
It's your mindset that changes. That's the thing that changes. It changes, your mindset changes. Now, you start taking on more responsibility. You see this thing working, because let me tell you something, when you start getting like 45, 46, 47 years old and you don't have anything in the bank.
Well, that part right there. Hey, I wonder why I keep looking over here. You
feel some kind of way.
It is one thing for someone to give you the steps, to take, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's another thing to execute them. And so once you can get out of debt, and once you now can start planning, then your mindset opens up to new things. I mean, we got out of debt, and then, believe it or not, a year and a half later, we had a house built.
Oh wow!
So we were able to put ourselves in a position where we were able to have a house built. We were able to put down 20% on the house so we wouldn't have mortgage insurance. But you learn all those things going through the process.
Oh, you put 20% down on the house you in now?
Mhm.
The big one that go from the one block to the other block. To my door. So the one where the butler come up and say, the houses are not in. Can you come back and check?
But you know what? But you ask the question, once you get there, it stays there, and it really was no, because we moved into that house and the first thing that we said was that we're not going to buy any furniture.
Oh, wow.
We're not going to put any furniture in there. We're going to pay cash.
Wow.
And we moved in there in July of 2003. And
full of furniture.
And by September, it was full of furniture. It was full of furniture, but it was within our budget. I mean, we didn't go, it was within our budget, and we were able to handle it. But I tell you what happened was that 2 months later, Cindy got laid off from a job.
Wow.
And see, that's the thing. We don't leave ourselves no room for what ifs.
Yeah.
What if that job play out? What if that thing that you go to every day play out? We don't leave ourselves no wiggle room where we can do it. So once I'm curious now, so what happened? What happened then?
So if you're going through the steps, and we had an emergency fund. Okay. But still, with that emergency fund, in our case, I'm going to be honest, she made more money than I made. So I remember her calling me on the job and say, "Hey, I just got laid off." And I'm saying, "Hey, baby, everything is going to be fine. We're going to be good."
That's what we got to say. And you got to say that.
I hung that phone up and I was like,
"What happened?" I was like, "What happened in your prayer closet?"
I was like, Jesus.
So I'm calling on him.
I was calling on him. I was like, Jesus. And I started thinking, bump that furniture. But we serve a good God.
Yes.
And we were able to, I worked a lot of overtime. I was able, in my job, I was able to work a lot of overtime.
That's good.
And in that, working that overtime, and because we had already kind of gone through the storm, we knew exactly what to do. And so, but there was one lesson that I learned in that.
What's that?
Because she didn't go back to work until like 6 months later. 8 months later.
You need to come say
8 months later.
8 months.
But one thing I learned is that you can live on less.
Oh, yes,
but you can live good on less. If you know what you're doing.
See, that's the part. You say good.
Now, you know what I'm saying? They had that qualifier on it that you can live good, right?
We didn't miss a beat. We saved, we invest, and we tithe. We did not miss not one beat.
Wow.
But we learned a valuable lesson. And then from that point on, I felt like I wanted to take this, what we have learned, and then we were in the church with Mount Olive Church in Plano,
right? And
I felt like this was an opportunity to share this with other people.
That's some lesson.
Wow, so let me right here. This seemed like a perfect spot. Please, y'all, please, like, share, and subscribe to the show. If you're enjoying the show, tell somebody about it. Tell somebody about what's being talked about tonight. Because listen, we all got a friend. We all know somebody that can really use this. You know why? Because you can use it. You the one that can use it. Don't tell nobody. It's between me and you. Like, share, and subscribe. And for our TikTok fans and followers, follow us. Because if we get over 1,000 people, we can go live from there as well. But now back to broke today, blessed tomorrow.
Blessed. Let me get a comment real quick. Your wife, Sister Cindy, she said it was all about putting in our spreadsheets, following the percentages, and getting the visual that our plan was working. Getting the visual, keeping it in front of you. So did you have like something? I don't know, was it some on your refrigerator, somewhere you saw? You kind of marked it where you can actually see things coming down?
Well, we saw we had a spreadsheet.
Okay.
And then, you're doing the Dave Ramsey plans. I mean, he's got, emergency fund, pay off debt, 3 to 6 months of emergency money. But there are the tools in there that you can put your bills. We could put the bill up, how much you're paying on it, and it could basically, if you're making that payment every month, it would tell you when it's going to be paid off.
And
that's part of the debt snowball.
Okay.
All that is, all those are the steps that you can use and do. But the part is, you have to be motivated, and you have to have a mindset to work the plan.
And you keep talking about this, and I don't want us to jump over this because this is really important. You said we have to do the first step. You said we have to have an emergency fund. Do you not know how important the emergency fund is? Because stuff happens all the time, whether you are prepared for it or not. And life is just so much different. When I was thinking about this other day. Me and my wife used to get on the road and go down to my daughter's college all the time, and we wouldn't have $200-300 in the bank. And if you go down there, if you come back and you have a real bad flat or something, and you got to buy tires, you got to have money for that. Anything can happen. The car could break down. It got to be towed. You have to have money, emergency money set aside. And so many people live where they don't have, they don't have emergency accounts. You cannot stop that. Y'all stop that. Jesse, would you tell them one more time how to do? Because I am so serious. Because you cannot live because stuff is going to happen.
You got to have an emergency fund for like what you just said, but but the same, you have to have an emergency fund, but because things will happen, and so I just lost my train of thought, but it's I always looked at it as a clock. The second hand is always moving,
right?
And that's your operating fund. Okay. And so that's your operating fund. Yeah. And so if that second hand ever stopped, now you got to your plan is not working. Okay. And so if you don't have an emergency fund to go over here and pull that money out and put it over here so that clock keeps rolling, because time is money.
Yes.
So you got to have that emergency fund. But when you're getting out of debt, you're making room to be able to put money aside for that.
It's good.
And for anybody that's watching right now, because what we're really trying to do is trying to just get you to just take a look at things, right? Listen, God already tapped you on the forehead. Trust me, because if you tuned in, it was something about the conversation. You was like, man, I need to check see what they're talking about. He already tapped you on the forehead. So what we're trying to do is show you that, number one, this is not something you're not in a place that nobody's ever been. Right? And we have living proof here that you can get through it, right? He's made it through on the other side. But we're just trying to connect the dots for you, because when all of this is staring you in the face, I mean, just having the wherewithal to even come up with a plan. So you mentioned Dave Ramsey. So somebody already has a plan that you can pull in.
Because you're not the first one.
Right. You're not the first one.
Oftentimes, man, we put ourselves on islands. It makes us feel like we're the only ones that's going through a lot of this stuff, man.
Yeah.
Man, it's really important. That's why where a community is really important, because chances are you're not the only one going through that. Somebody else is going through it. And the answer a lot of times is just a conversation away. That we're not willing to have most of the time.
Yeah. So you gotta be willing to lock in. We're trying to get some comments, but I'm having some problems trying to see it. So let's go here. Let's go here. What did sitting down with your wife, going through this, working a plan, what did it do for you two as far as your relationship?
It brought us together. There was less friction, and I can see in her heart, what she wanted. I feel like there was a calmness on her because now we had a plan.
Wow.
And we were moving somewhere. We were not just stagnant, just trying to make it from day to day. And so it brought us closer together, and when you get closer together, then, You already know. But we were able to do nice things. We were able to go on vacation.
Okay.
We were able to do things like that.
Okay.
And not worry,
So you can get back to the living, right?
To the living.
And I think that's the thing that people are having problems with is they may feel like the sacrifice is forever, and not understand maybe it's temporary. It was 2.5 years for you, but 2.5 years compared to how many years you've had, where you've living debt free and everything.
Yeah.
Was it not worth it?
Very much worth it. It was worth it.
So we're just trying to get people to understand it's worth it. We got Miss Nicole Townsend Major, who says, so grateful that my parents went through what they went through to teach my sister and I about finances at a young age. Because of their sacrifices and testimony, we're blessed to be debt-free as adults. That you talk about a blessing.
Yes.
You talk about a blessing, because there are people sitting there right now who didn't have parents who gave them that, and that's important. We got another comment from Go Power Go Go. Says, yes, sacrifice is a must. Live like no one else, so later you can live like no one else.
Yes, exactly.
Does that sound familiar?
That was Dave. Yes.
Cindy says, and it was a model for our children. Glory, right? He set a standard. So somebody could be missing out on, you could be missing out on setting a standard for your children for generations.
You know how much of a blessing that it is. I mean, because coming from parents that didn't really know finances like that, man, I can't even put into words how much of a blessing it is to be able to pass that on to your kids. But they don't have to be in that hole to realize, to find out, oh, we don't have to do it this way. It can be another way. Man, I'm telling you, that is so much of a blessing to be able to train kids up about finances.
Yeah.
Because man, life is easy if you got your finances under control. That's the thing that ruins us a lot of times, is finances.
Yeah. Get Latarsha, she says, I think oftentimes people we know don't understand the meaning of emergency fund. People see an extra $100 and think that's for buying materialistic things. So she brings up a good point. Define emergency fund, because some people get kind of loose. They use that term loosely, emergency. What would constitute an actual emergency?
Emergency would be if my car broke down.
Okay.
Emergency would be if the washer and dryer, broke down. Emergency would be something, or if something happened in your family, you had to get on a flight and fly somewhere to see your parents or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe we should say what's not an emergency. Purses, shoes, clothes, sales, all this stuff is not an emergency. That is not an emergency. That's just stuff you got to buy. That is a sale.
But it ain't coming around no more. It's my only chance to get this. Right. These are things that people actually tell themselves, and they sabotage their own plan. And that can be very discouraging, because it's like now you're moving backwards instead of moving forwards. And it's important to keep that traction. Like, did it excite you seeing the traction? Yes. Like once you saw them numbers coming down, like what did that do for your motivation?
It was very exciting. I mean, you've been in a rut or a hole, whatever you want to call it, for so long, and now that you see that you're working and you're getting traction, you're moving forward, and you get excited about it. And then again, if you're doing a death snowball and you're doing it correctly, you've gotten to a point now where you can see when things are going to be paid off. If I just keep the status quo and just keep it going, I'm going to be out of debt in a year or 2 years or 3 years, whatever your goal is. And then that's what motivates you. That's what keeps you going.
Yeah. Did you ever try to beat the clock? Like if it says 6 months, you're like, 6 months, I could do better than that.
I can pay it off.
I'll bring it down to 4.
Not really, because in the interim while you're doing this, you're trying to get that emergency fund together.
Okay.
In the interim, you're trying to do some investments.
Okay.
Because you got to remember, you're 47, 48.
Gotta make some moves.
So now you got to be making some moves.
Yes,
so
yes.
the one good thing that I did was when I first started with FedEx, I got into the I got into the 401.
Okay.
And I did the match. And I would tell anybody on your job, if you have a 401 and a match, take the match. Whatever it is it takes, whether it's 5%, 4%, 7%, get that match. Yeah. And that was the one thing that I did do right.
Say what all, man. I had something working for me.
That was the one thing that I did right. But then you're looking like you 48, 50 years, and you really, you only got like 15 years or whatever to get it together. And so we started, and by this time, once you've gone through this process, then you start investing outside of your job. Okay. The one thing that I'll keep going back to Dave Ramsey, because that is the vehicle that helped me to get where we're going. And then they set you up with an investment counselor.
Okay.
And so we started off doing, just a few $100s into a 401. But as we start paying off our debt, we were able to put more money into it. And so
that's good.
Because I think that's something to really consider. So considering your age and how much time you have, as you're doing the debt snowball, you need to balance it with retirement investments and stuff like that.
Now, Dave Ramsey would say, do it all one time, and then
that's why.
But depending on your age, I think that we started. Once we freed up some money, we did start investing.
Okay.
And then we just gradually increased it, as we went on.
Let me get a comment from Nicole. She says, an emergency fund is everything. Life be lifing. Because we had that emergency fund established, and the Lord, we didn't stress about finances when I was laid off for 10 months. Unemployment these days isn't what it used to be, right? So that's your daughter. She's saying that emergency fund came in real handy for a situation that they found themselves in.
I don't know if I should even tell this story.
Can we get permission real quick? Give us a thumbs up real quick. No,
you can't do it.
We'll see.
Okay.
But no, it's and for the people who feel like just frustrated right now. And when I say frustrated, because you like, nobody told me this. Nobody taught me this. Now, we've all had the responsibility to learn, but a lot of times you don't know what you don't know until a situation comes, and then you start to see how deficient you are just on information in and of itself. So don't get discouraged because you feel like you're just frustrated that this wasn't presented to you when you were younger or anything. This is why we're doing this. You still have time.
But I think what's key though is the older you are or the younger you are, the more structured your decisions have to be made if you're older. You don't have as much wiggle room when you're old as you do when you're younger. You can't go ahead, jump on there.
I was gonna say when you're older, you're gonna have to put more into it. Because of the law of 72.
Law of 72.
So, because you want your money to double. So if you can learn in your late 20s, your 30s, you don't have to put as much money in. When you get to 49, 50 years old, you're going to have to put
money in there.
Allocate more money towards it to get the outcome that you want.
So we got the thumbs up.
Okay.
So we got
I'm gonna tell this story.
He got that permission for.
Got permission. Okay. We had just went on vacation to a family reunion in Vegas. Nikki's living at the house. She's grown. She's working. We get back, and her timing belt or something broke on her car, and so she needed like about $500-600.
Right.
That was what's going to cost to fix it. She's working full time, and so we only charged her about $150 a month to live there.
Right.
And so she said, "Daddy, can we borrow the money to get my car fixed.
Yeah.
I'm saying, you 18 years, you working full time, and you don't have $600. Now I'm telling her,
Right.
You know, we went through. And so anyway, so I said, no, so this is like September. I said, okay, I'm gonna give you the money, but I do not want you to $50 immediate death or $100 immediate. So when you get your income tax money, I want all my money at one time. 2, because we were facilitating, Brother Lucas and I were facilitating the Dave Ramsey class. I said, you got to take Dave Ramsey class.
No,
that November.
Boy, you cold.
Yeah.
You are cold, man.
She agreed to the terms.
Yeah.
She took the class. But let me tell you something. Come January, February, she got her taxes, and I said, hey, I want all my money.
Right.
And my wife said, are you going to make her pay you? I said, oh, yes, I am. Every penny.
Don't take it.
Don't take it. She paid me all my money. But I tell you what, I think at that time was a 9-week class. This was February. By October that same year, she came in and brought me the title to her car.
Wow.
She had paid her car off and like almost 2 years early.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And I knew then she got it.
Right.
She got it.
Right.
She got it.
Right. So sometimes you got to be a bill collector. Nicole said it's never too late. Start today. Take baby steps. Right. So that hard lesson, even extending that to your daughter, what was in your mind? Was it like, I gotta make this hurt?
Well, I gotta make it hurt, but because now I've gone through the whole program, I realize the earlier you start,
better. Yes.
the better it is.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and so I said, if I can get these girls in their late 20s or early 30s to start investing outside of their job, they're going to do it on their jobs.
Right.
But you need to start investing into Roth IRAs outside of your job. And then I also knew that in this day and age, you're not going to be able to depend on Social Security. It may not be there in the form that we're receiving it. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Let me get a comment. As Linda says, yes, it's never too late. Start today going forward with the plan. And I think the biggest thing is that plan, right? So you heard them talk about Dave Ramsey. Now there are other plans out there, but Dave Ramsey is probably one of the most notable ones.
It is
right
embarrassing not to have a plan.
Yeah.
At whatever particular age, between 30s and 40s and up, is get a plan. Let's get a plan together. Listen, it would be different if the information wasn't coming across. We're bringing information, guys. Let's get a plan. Start wherever you are. Take baby steps wherever you are. Yes, you're right. It is embarrassing. You want to tell nobody. But believe me, they probably already know.
Now, what is the jumping point? What's the first step that you recommend to anybody? Like, what is one of the first things you say? Listen, you got to lock in here first.
Like John said, you have to get a plan, and you have to have a workable budget.
A workable budget.
There's sometimes we put budgets together, we put them on paper, they look good, but we don't follow them.
Wow.
So you have to have a workable plan, a budget, and work that budget and work that plan. You have to know where your money's going. You have to name it. And then when you can start doing that, then that's the beginning, because then the other steps fall into place, because at that point you have to be disciplined. You have to be disciplined, and you have to have a what is your why?
What is your why?
What is your why? I didn't want to be working at Walmart.
I
got nothing against Walmart.
That's a good why for me. I'm sorry. That is a good why.
I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be working till 70.
Wow.
Not because you have to be. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be working no work because you don't have to.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you didn't prepare like you were supposed to. Because life, like she said, lifes.
It does.
And whether you plan for it or not, it's going to continue to do it. So you have to make the change to be ready for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I just want to say one thing that, but I was I was really proud to be able to go through what we went through, come through on the other side, but then be able to facilitate classes where other people, could take it, and then they learn from it, and then they move it. They tell other folks about it. So that was the beauty of of it and going through all that.
Yeah. I say this often. One of the things that we're missing, especially in the Black community, when it comes to men, we're missing elders. When I say elders, like men that other men can look to, men that are coming up, you can look to as a standard, as for how you serve your family, how you serve your community, and just the whole nine. This is one of the elders. Let me tell you, this is an elder. This is a solid guy that you can look to, and he gonna keep it real with you. He gonna always, but he's looking out. He's looking out. He wants people to experience what he's experienced. So you come to him and he gives you, but just looking at how him and his family, how he loves his wife, how he loves his kids, how he prepares his kids, and all of this. This is a standard, right? So I consider you an elder. And I ain't talking about elder in the church. I'm talking about elder as far as somebody you can look at, somebody you can look to if you're looking for, man, what does manhood look like? Right? Because we can have all these ideas, but to see an actual picture is a whole different thing. So I just want to make sure that you know that you are an elder, right? Because we hang out sometimes, all the fellas hang out. And when we get you to come hang out, it's a good time, and you just come and you just sit and you just talk with us. And it's a good time. So definitely appreciate you being here.
I appreciate what you guys are doing. This is truly, truly needed. Truly needed.
Absolutely.
And somebody's being blessed. You guys are blessed, but somebody else is being blessed from what you guys are doing every week, every day.
And that's what we're doing. We're just trying to help somebody.
Trying to get this paper, man.
Trying to help that income, right? You know what I'm saying? Speed up that process.
We got a dead snowball.
So, man, it's been a great conversation. I mean, I'm glad we got a chance to bring you here and have you here to talk to us. And you can feel the emotion. You can feel it, man. When he tell the story, I was like, man, he's in there. Come out of there. He's in there. Yeah.
It was good, man. Great talk. Great talk, man.
No, and it's, like I said, it's much needed. Because I know we can relate. Like I said, we come from not having the education, not getting the somebody to sit you down and tell you, XYZ about finances. And so you come along here and now it's like, hey, you can't get around it. You need to figure this thing out. And so just having the wherewithal to lock in, at this age is important. Let me get Latasha. She says, agree on the steps. Also know that you can rest yourself in moderation once you reach your milestone. As a single parent, I have some struggle stories. One thing I sacrificed was nail and hair shop visits, eating out. This is why my birthdays are always important for me to celebrate, even to this day. It was the one time I splurged on myself as a single parent, right? Wow. So that's some focus. That is some focus. She said also, thank you for sharing your story, right? She said, thank you for sharing your story. Listen, there are people out here who feel what you're going through, because one of the biggest things is you get in there and you kind of feel like it's just you. And you will feel like I can't tell nobody, because if I tell people, they're going to know how messed up I am. Trust me, it's going to show anyway. Eventually, if you don't go ahead and do something about it. So you might as well get locked in now. All right, so we're up to our final thoughts. So real quick, just kind of, what would you like to leave the people with?
Start where you're at. Get serious about your your finances, have goals, and then sit down and put it on paper what you want to accomplish, what milestones you want to accomplish, and what age you want to accomplish it. You know, one thing I understand that retirement is not a number, is a number, not an age. Retirement is not an age, it's a number. If that's what you want to do and you have the money to do it, you can retire at any age or do whatever you want to do. But start where you're at, have a plan, you know, and follow the steps.
That's good.
My final thought for this evening, I can't help but get this out of my head. So if you ask somebody what did they want to, most people want to retire when they want to retire, how they want to retire. We say that all the time, but we don't do anything toward doing what we say we want to do with our lives. And this is so funny because Walmart, McDonald's, Burger King, they waiting for you to talk about it and not be about it. Because Burger King, if I come up in there and I see their head tilted sideways on you, I'm going to say, but we done told you 9 times. We done told you 9 times. Let's start being about it. In the Black community, we talk more about it than we do anything else. It's time to stop talking about these finances and let's get them together. And that's my final thought.
We talk about, or at least I know I talk about a lot, the kingdom of God. I talk about, you hear people talk about taking dominion, right? And everybody thinks about taking dominion as far as, you know, going out and commanding stuff. So the first thing you need to command is your household. And getting a plan, making a budget, sticking to a plan is taking dominion over your finances. That's really what it is. It's you getting in control. Listen, don't wait and just think God gonna just come through with a miracle and that miracle gonna set you right. Because God can come through, and if your mind ain't set right, you're just gonna end up right back in the same situation again. So what he's trying to do is get the right mindset in you. So if life is staring you down right now, breathing all heavy down your neck, and it's intimidating, that's God telling you, work what I give you. He gives you a plan, work it, and start to get back in front and get in control of the life that God has given you. And that's how you do it. By all means, make it happen. And that's my final thoughts.
Boy, but if you wait for God, he take his sweet time.
Well, he do it on purpose.
Ooh,
he do it on purpose. He
gonna
gonna let you sweat, brother. I can't tell you. Listen, God will let you sweat.
You're gonna sweat that out.
Because it's about the lesson.
Yes,
It's about the lesson.
It's a journey.
All right. We got a couple more. Chad says, awesome show, fellas. My father-in-law is the man. All right. Son-in-law chiming in. Latarsha says, retirement is not an age, it's a number. I love it. All right. So the people are enjoying all of the nuggets you shared. She says, come on, command your household. Listen, we want to thank you all for joining us tonight. And it's our hope that something was shared tonight. We know it was. Something was shared that blessed you. And we hope we gave somebody hope tonight. Really. So if you got to sit down with your wife and have that talk, let's go ahead and do it.
And hey, man, before you get out of here, we want to thank you and your wife for coming out, man.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you, man. And we hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
All right,
Yes,
love it. Appreciate you guys.
All right, good people. We're going to catch y'all next week. Peace out. Y'all have a good one.